Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin, I should warn you that some of you may find what you are about to hear rather disturbing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Until Dawn podcast. As always, my name is Coy, and with me is my wife, Felicia.
Hello, everyone. We were doing great. We were hitting every, 2-week goal, right?
Right.
And then we missed last week. But I had to have a foot surgery done.
Our son had pneumonia.
Yeah. And so that pretty much laid us out for the whole week. I don't know. That's my excuse.
Yes, but we're here now, and,
And I did want to record. I kept saying, we got to get down there. But I couldn't even go up and down the stairs, really.
Right.
So, anyway, we're taking care of it now.
Well, one thing we did get to do that everybody will get to hear about on Tuesday is we did an interview with Tracy from the Tracy O Show. You want to tell everybody about that?
That was a lot of fun. So we kind of took, years ago, I can't remember what year. It was when you first got out of the Army. Yeah, you know that. We got to do an investigation with her. So that was kind of cool. So we kind of talk about that. And then she just kind of interviewed us about, paranormal investigating and haunted locations. So I believe she releases that on Tuesday, right?
I think that's correct.
So everybody should download that episode and check it out.
And subscribe to the podcast because it's a lot of fun.
I love it. She talks about, I think I've said this before, it's always something different. And it's not paranormal, so don't think that it is. But I really enjoy her podcast.
But if you are interested in paranormal, I think she said that
I think this whole month of October.
The whole month is going to be ghost stories from different people and everything like that. So it'll definitely be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Well, one good thing is spooky season is officially upon us.
I know, we already said that, but now it's October.
Right.
The temperature actually dropped below 90 degrees.
For 4 days? It has been so
hot. Yeah. Today, it was back up to 80
Yeah, it was 80 something. But tomorrow it's going to be 65, so.
I'm just thinking about the weather. It drives me crazy.
Oh, I see.
I can't stand to be cold, but I can't stand to be hot.
Right.
I just need it to be perfect.
So let's go ahead and just dive straight into our spooky scoops this week.
You've heard of this big cat that's supposed to be around? Of course. Some say it's a puma, others a giant ape, and still others say it's the sukara. A sukara? It's a new kind of animal to me. That's a famous jungle demon that tears living animals to shreds with its claws and then feeds upon them. Has been known to attack humans also. Hasn't so far, I hope. No. But I'm sure it will.
All right, so my story comes from a hospital in India, and it was on Coast to Coast.
Okay.
And so there's a video that kind of correlates with the story, and it shows a wheelchair seemingly moving on its own across, it looks like maybe a lobby. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna play the video. I'm going to play the video for you, and you can kind of give your opinion on it.
All right.
So, yeah, the wheelchair is over on that side.
This is bad radio. Just saying.
Yeah, unfortunately, you guys can't see the video.
We'll share it, right?
Yeah, I'll put a link on it, and we'll share it on our social media. It looks like they did blur somebody out that was standing over there by the bushes.
Unless that's a ghost.
And they're not, they don't have a rope on the wheelchair or anything.
How do you know, though?
See, watch the wheelchair.
Okay.
It just kind of rolls out. And I would think it was the wind, but how it kind of changes directions.
You know what?
And
I seen another video, and I feel like it was the same place, and it was a hospital gurney.
Right. But it's weird, though, how it changes direction and stuff.
It is weird, but because it looks like the same place as that high school, I don't know. Do you know where did we see that? The hospital gurney. Do you remember that? Did you see it, or did I just watch it?
I think you just saw it. But
wait, was it rolling all the way down?
Yeah. Now, when it gets a little bit further out, it looks like a downward walkway. So, but it is weird how In the beginning of the video, it does show it like kind of rolling backwards, all the way up against the wall maybe, and then like coming out, changing direction, so for it to kind of then go back out.
I'm gonna have to look though, because I don't even remember where I seen it, but it kind of looked the same. Like it was like outdoors, and there was like the walkway like that, and there was like a hospital gurney that like came out and like rolled, and then kind of stopped, and then it kind of, I can't remember. I feel like it tipped over maybe, or it went toward a person. I don't know. I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
So, but maybe that's just a really super haunted place, and things keep happening there.
Now there was a security guard that kind of walked out when he saw it kind of rolling around out there.
Right. And I feel like the exact same thing happened in the hospital gurney one.
And he was quoted as saying, "I was also feeling very cold." So, maybe there was also a cold chill or cold spot in that area. But I thought it was interesting. And like I said, we'll share it. And the video's on YouTube, so it's on the internet. It must be true.
Right. That's what we always say.
So what do you have for us?
Okay, so let me open this up. Of course, I have 100 windows opened up on my phone. So
always.
Give me 1 second. All right, this came from allthat'sinteresting.com.
Okay.
It's a new place. I just found it. 115,000-year-old bones found in Poland reveal Neanderthal child eaten by gigantic prehistoric bird.
That's actually really interesting.
That is interesting. Okay. So basically there was 2 finger bones that were found. They belonged to a Neanderthal child, and they estimated that they lived about 115,000 years ago. That makes them the oldest known human remains from Poland. Once the bones were analyzed, the scientists, they concluded that the bones had passed through the digestive system of a large bird.
Huh. I wonder how they knew it was a bird.
I know. That's what I was wondering too. They said it's unclear if the bird killed the child, killed the kid and ate him, or if maybe he was like scavenging.
It was like a vulture, a prehistoric vulture.
Right, and he the remains, which is my guess. Like it was probably just eating the remains.
Maybe it was a thunderbird.
Maybe it probably was. Hey, who's to say? So it said that the scientists, they can count on one hand how many Neanderthal bones that they found. And that they were, because they're finger bones, they're tiny, they were almost overlooked because they were mixed in with animal bones. Probably the bird. So I would think they could analyze those bones, right? The animal bones?
Yeah, they should be able to analyze the bones, and then it'll, have markers that will show them kind of like the species.
I would think so, yeah. It's estimated that the child was between 5 and 7 years old, which is horrible. That's so sad. You know what? I'm scared of birds, and that's why. You know how birds freak me out? Now you know why.
Because they'll eat you?
They're menacing. They are menacing. Anyway. It's being called one of Poland's greatest archaeological discoveries of all time.
Huh, that's really interesting.
As Dagan would say, our son, that is frightening to think you could be eaten by a bird.
It's true.
I was bit by an ostrich once.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people that have been around ostriches.
It may have been an emu.
Ostriches are mean.
Right, I don't know. Was there a difference between an ostrich and an emu?
Well, I would say so, because they're called 2 different things.
Anyway, yeah. I got bit by one at the zoo. It said, do not feed the animals. I was feeding the animals, and that's what happens. And that's why there are signs.
And see, kids,
obey the rules.
See, kids, that's why you follow the rules.
Right. I still have the scar on my finger from that. Yeah. Traumatizing, and I still remember it.
And you still didn't learn your lesson.
It's probably been 32 years. And that's why I'm always like, do not feed the animals. Get away from the animals to the kids. Because learning from life experience.
All right. Well, I think on that note of the biting ostriches and things to not do at the zoo, we should go ahead and head down to the southwest for our main topic of the night, which is going to be Slaughterhouse Canyon.
A sudden draft from a window that was supposed to have been closed. A chill at the back of the neck. Groans, creaks, and bumps in the night. Man has always been frightened by the dark, troubled by noises just beyond the reach of lights, occurrences just beyond the reach of understanding.
First off, I want to say I really like doing these state episodes because people are actually giving us suggestions. If you heard that noise, that's our son with pneumonia coughing in the background. Just ignore it. But it's making our episodes really short. But I think that's okay. Because, sometimes you need a nice short podcast to listen to. I know some that I listen to are like 2 hours long. Anyway. So, what we're going to talk about tonight is Slaughterhouse Canyon. And that was suggested to us by our friend Jen from Arizona.
All right. So, as we said, tonight we're going to be doing an episode on Slaughterhouse Canyon, which Slaughterhouse Canyon is actually called Luna's Canyon, and it's located just southeast of Kingman, Arizona. So Kingman, Arizona was a small little desert town that was established in 1882, and it had very different, uses. It was a military camp. At one point, that area was an Indian reservation, and it kind of really found its footing whenever the railroad routed close to it. So the legend goes, a miner and his family moved to this area in the canyon, and it was typical during those times for the husband, the miner, to leave for weeks on a time in search of gold, for food, and that's pretty much the basis of where all their food would come from, which will kind of tie into the story later on. Mm-hmm. And during this time, he left for another one of his trips, I guess almost as if a business trip, and he unfortunately never returned. So, of course, there's many different theories on what happened, like why he didn't come back. Some theories are that he struck it rich and just ran off and left his family. Others think that he possibly got into an accident, or even that he was murdered. But regardless, he didn't come home, and then this left the family with no food.
So, with them not having any food, they were the kids were crying. They were inconsolable because they were just starving. And so, what does mom do? She puts on her wedding dress and chops up the children.
Mom doesn't go hunting.
Right? And so it's said that that's what happens. And so after that, she takes them down, or takes their body parts down to the river, and then throws them in and lays on the side of the river and mourns herself to death, but also kind of starves to death at that point. That's
kind of where I have my issues with the story.
All right.
I feel like it's super believable, husband goes searching for all this accident or whatever happens, but then his family possibly starves to death, but mom puts on a wedding dress.
I know, it just doesn't make sense.
That's where I'm like,
but that's the good thing about legends. They don't really have to make sense. I think they're kind of there to scare you into doing the right thing. Or
now I do know that there's a lot of similarities between this and the Curse of La Llorona.
Yes.
So I wonder if
I thought the same thing.
Maybe that's where they kind of, over the years, they've kind of merged into one, but they're still two separate things. Because I know in that story,
that one's a Latin story, right?
Yeah.
So this is Southwest.
Right. With the story, that one coming from Mexico, it's Arizona, Mexico, they're very, very close. But I wonder if maybe, because in that one, I want to say she drowned him at the river.
She did. And actually, one of the stories with the Slaughterhouse Canyon, another, because there's always multiple versions, is that she did drown him in the river.
Right. That's almost more believable than that she, cut him up into pieces and then hauled him off down to the river.
Right.
Which I still don't quite understand why she would haul him off down to the river. And then, of course, now when people visit that area, which is now referred to as Slaughterhouse Canyon, they hear screams of children, the cries of children, the cries of the mom. I'm kind of skeptical on this one, just because coyotes are very rampant.
Right.
And if you hear a coyote off in the distance, sometimes it can really sound like a person screaming.
It's scary, actually.
It's weird, too, that we kind of found out about this one so late.
Right, because we used to live in Arizona.
Right.
If I would have known about this, I would have been like, hey, let's go. I mean, it was 6 hours from where we live.
Yeah, I looked it up, because it's actually 6 hours from Fort Huachuca.
But...
So maybe that's why, because it is pretty far. And, being so close to Tombstone and Bisbee,
right.
Those kind of really take precedence there.
Yeah. Plus, we didn't travel a lot in Arizona. I think we're the only people to ever live in Arizona and not go to the Grand Canyon.
That's true.
So,
I wasn't gonna put that one out there.
Right.
We're gonna get hate mail for not going to the Grand Canyon.
It's like one of those things. You're like, oh, we'll go, and then the Army's like, no, you'll go to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and then they pack us up and move us, and never did it.
Yeah, that was one of the places I really wish we could have stayed longer. So what do you think? I mean, what's your opinion on this one?
I think it's a good story, but once it gets to the point where she chops up the children, I'm just like, eh.
Right.
I know there's moms out there that have things like postpartum depression, and they do things they don't normally do. But I just find this one, it's a good legend, I think. I don't think there's maybe a tiny bit of truth, but I really think it's just a myth.
I think it, it probably did happen to an extent. I think, at that time, it's not like she could just pack the kids up in the minivan and drove into town.
Right, but she could have went and hunted. Obviously, they're close to a river.
Right.
She could have went fishing.
Yeah, there's definitely some key factors in this that are very questionable.
Right.
Maybe they did stay there and actually just starve to death. Maybe there was some sort of other ailment where they couldn't leave. But I find it highly unlikely that someone was chopped up.
I do love the story, though. I think it's cool. It's creepy. And there's actually, I looked up the area, there's actually still buildings standing there. And I don't know if that's from the, I guess, what would you call it? Their little area that they built houses. Township. I don't know. What did they call it back then?
Anyway, guess as good as mine.
So I guess there's still some rock buildings still standing in that area. So I don't know. One day I would like to go there. I want to go back to Arizona to visit. I want to go to the Grand Canyon. So I'd like to go check it out. But I don't know that we would actually find anything other than coyotes. Right.
Yeah. More than likely, it would just be nothing but ruins if there was anything out there. And it's
right. Especially because it was described as a wooden shack that he built. Probably not going to withstand anything.
No, definitely not out there in the desert.
Right.
All right. So do you have anything else for this one?
No. I feel bad because it's like I said earlier, it's a short episode. But on these types of things, there's really not a lot. Because legends are what they are. And
yeah, I mean, especially something...
We don't have personal experiences. Maybe some we will. Maybe when we get to some of these other states, we'll find stuff personal to us. But
yeah, no, I mean, that was pretty much, to the point. We could have added a bunch of nonsense and filler in there, but
right,
there's no need. All right, so that does it for Slaughterhouse Canyon.
Yep. Next up is our neighbors to the south, Arkansas.
Absolutely.
We don't have suggestions yet. I mean, I have my own idea, but, I'll wait a week. If we get a suggestion, we might do that.
So, one thing I want to put out there. If you guys are listening to the podcast, well, hopefully you're listening. Otherwise, you're not going to hear this. But if there's some other like app or program that you usually listen to, but our show is not on it, let us know, because I try to get the show out to as many different podcast players as I can. But, there's always more out there.
Right. There's more than probably we can ever imagine.
Because I know we just recently got on iHeartRadio. So that's exciting. But the big one, of course, is still iTunes. The majority of our listeners all listen through iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why every 2 weeks, sometimes 3, we ask you guys, go in there, rate and review us on iTunes. It's super quick, but it is a big help to the show.
Right. And we actually got 2 new ratings since the last time we recorded.
Yes, thank you.
Which I was like so excited about, because I don't think we had a new rating or review
in quite a while. Yeah,
months. It had been months. So
yes, thank you for that.
It was actual reviews. It wasn't just ratings. It was reviews, and they were both good reviews.
Excellent.
So
even if like I said, even if you don't like the show, you still go in there and hit that 5-star review. Other than that, of course, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
I think that's about it, right?
Is that all the social media?
Twitter. Yeah.
I can't keep up with it anymore.
I can't either. I don't even know Twitter. Like, it's so hard for me. I'm so old. I don't get it.
But other than that, you can hit us up with the classic email, and that's at untildawnpodcast@gmail.com. Or, you can give us a call if you have something interesting that you want us to play on the show.
Right. They can message us on Facebook.
Yep. And both of those, well, not messaging us on Facebook, you can do that. But if you want to call or text us, just do that at 913-703-DAWN. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
Nothing?
I'm already writing notes for the next show, so.
Yes, stay tuned. 2 weeks from now. I'm gonna put it out there now, so we have to do it.
I feel like when he does that, we end up waiting 3 months. So I feel like
Nope.
he jinxed us.
2 weeks. So until next time, I'm Coy.
I'm Felicia.
And this is Until Dawn.